Hi, today we're going to be going through the paid media analysis dashboard. This is a dashboard that's going to help us understand the most efficient and high yielding ROI investments in our various digital campaigns that we have at our company. It's going to help us with planning to understand what are the most efficient uses of our money and our spends based off what's worked well in the past. And this is all made possible because of the ability to bring in various sets of data underneath the hood from finance, from our digital returns, from our digital channels that we invest in, and put all that data together for analysis here in Tableau. There are a few metrics that we look at. Common metrics in this type of analysis are impressions. These are the numbers of times your paid content has been showed to users. There's clicks, the number of times that those impressions which have been shown to users has led through been clicked on by various users. There's conversion, so oftentimes our campaigns actually have an engagement at the end of them. Maybe it's sign up for an email to receive, monthly updates. Maybe it's click here to get a special offer. So these conversions are really what we want to get to. And based off all of the impressions that we get, we want to understand what leads to the highest conversion rate. And if we take our spend on these various campaigns and calculate a sort of efficiency that goes along with the conversion rate, we could start to understand the most highly effective channels for our digital marketing spend. There's always a definition of some of these metrics here in the information tab. We rank 100% efficiency, essentially when a campaign has a 1% conversion rate per $1,000 spend. So if we're at that level, we spend $1,000 to get just a 1% conversion rate, then we know we're doing our job and um, getting the maximum sort of ROI that we can expect out of these types of investments. So let's take a look at the dashboard. The top panel is always a list of filters that we could click through. Like I mentioned, you can change all of the metrics on the sheet by adjusting this select metrics toggle. We'll leave it on efficiency for now. There's various types of campaigns. We can invest in display like web banners. We can invest in search content, stuff that pops up on the side of Google search or Bing search. You might have noticed some of these advertisements pop up when you do your search online. There's the social investments, Facebook, Instagram, social media like Twitter, and also video channels that we invest in like YouTube. All of those campaign types have associated sites, like I just said, like Facebook, Google, Hulu, so on and so forth. And we also target our various products, which here are focused to be just our liquor categories, to particular demographic types, satisfying several income classes and also age buckets. So our campaigns are engineered. They're not just some willy-nilly campaign that we put out there, but they are engineered to attract a certain clientele. The first chart that we see at the top is efficiency by campaign over time. Every little dot here is essentially a campaign that we ran. So for example, this one has a campaign ID started on March 4th. It was an investment in social media for tequila, ran on Facebook, yielded 19 impressions. So not terribly great in terms of impressions. Here's another one, an investment in search for whiskey on Google, yielded 188,000 impressions, led to about 1.2% conversion rate. That's a little bit more promising. Down below, we have essentially the efficiency by type of campaign. We have the efficiency by product category, and we have the efficiency by site. And further below, we have a very detailed table of all of the metrics. So how would we use this dashboard? I'm going to put myself in the shoes of a product manager, and I want to understand how to allocate my marketing spend dollars. Where should I really invest in what channels? And I want to do this by understanding what's worked well in the past. So let me focus essentially on my two most kind of popular products, which are tequila, which we can see here, and whiskey. Every time I hover over these these bar charts, I do get a breakdown of the efficiency as a function of the product category and essentially the target income classes. So here, when I hover over display, I can see we ran a few campaigns for bourbon for high income, a few campaigns for risk whiskey, but most of our display investment was in tequila and across all target income categories. If I hover over search, I can see that both tequila and whiskey uh, ran probably the most campaign, and they yielded relatively good returns. So let's concentrate um, our investment into search. And I'm doing this instead of concentrating into video and social, because I know I could tell from these line charts that most of my campaign dollars, most of my campaigns are geared towards search. Naturally, the efficiency is going to be a little bit down just because there's more statistics. So I'm going to click on search and highlight tequila and whiskey. And what I'm left with is essentially the two main platforms for search that I invest in. One is Google and one is Microsoft, essentially Bing. And I can see the return or the efficiency of my Google campaigns is almost double that of Microsoft. I mean, what happened? What's going on in Google that is not essentially happening in Microsoft? Let's change our metric to spend. Am I spending more on Google than I am on Microsoft? You can see my selections are still highlighted here for the categories products that I'm interested in. You see our spends are relatively the same. If anything, we spend more on Microsoft Network than Google. So our spend is not really the issue. We're spending about the same amount of money on tequila and whiskey in both, but the efficiency was much higher in Google. What about impressions? If I just look at sort of raw numbers, again, sort of similar, leading to a lot of impressions, but the difference you'll see, obviously, Google starting to take a lead in clicks, and then also essentially in raw numbers of conversions. And then when we do get to the conversion rate, essentially, we do see essentially that Google is becoming a more efficient channel for our spend. Um, and getting back to the efficiency, we do see that. So looking at the raw numbers, Google essentially hovering around 1.5% efficiency, and MSN roughly half that rate for the same amount of spend. So if I'm a marketing product manager here and I'm trying to plan out my investments, my digital investments, I'm definitely going to skew my spend this upcoming year to invest in the more efficient channel. And that appears to be the Google platform for us. It seems to be working better. There's probably a lot of reasons for this, probably maybe different layout, maybe popularity of the site. I mean, the number of impressions we were getting was relatively the same, but there's something about that channel that's leading to better efficiency. So we're going to go with this one for the upcoming year, and that's how we use these types of dashboards to see and to help us plan for the future based off what's worked in the past. So thanks for that. Stay tuned. We'll do more analyses.